What's going on, everyone? Nick, Freedom Financial, Finance in Motion, and today I want to tell you my story. Alright, so back in traffic again, and I thought I would use this opportunity to just talk a little bit about where I'm from, or where I come from, and what I do personally, and that might hopefully resonate with somebody and get them to make some positive decisions potentially. So I've always had a healthy respect for money. Money is basically just paper energy, so it's just something that generally most people exchange their time for. So you give somebody time and they give you some money, keeping in mind that time is something you don't get back, right? So every time you think about, I don't know, $100 in your hand, that's time that you've exchanged to get that money. So it's actually a little bit more precious when you look at it like that, as opposed to that's a $100 bill, because you know that's just something you're going to go spend on a month of power bill, right? So I guess the big picture for me is just looking at treating it with a little bit of respect and making sure that you're putting it in the right places. And I know we talk quite a lot about KiwiSaver and saving for your first home, primarily because that's the clientele that I like to deal with and helping people achieve dreams that way. But that's not the only type of people I like to deal with. Generating wealth is I guess something that I'm really interested in, and I picked those habits up probably from overseas, to be honest, not so much in New Zealand. It's not something that we do here. Credit is so freely available, and people often live far beyond their means, and instant gratification, of course, having something now because credit's so easy to get, and you can just go to your Harvey Normans and buy anything you want and have it right then and there. Credit, boom, done, not even thought about, and nobody really generally looks under the hood of those deals, which, you know, you might spend 10 grand at Harvey Norman's with some new furniture or something like that, but bottom line, by the time you get, you know, your Latitude Finance or Gem Visas or whatever you guys are getting with your 29% interest, because maybe your credit's not so good because of, I don't know, whatever, and you're at 29%, you know, 10 grand, 29%. In the last video we just did, we talked about that, and the interest is $2,900, and you're probably taking that over 4 or 5 years. Do you know what I mean? It's $2,900 per year. It's added up, it's added up over the period of time and slapped on the top, and then you pay off the amounts over that time. So unless you guys have a massive windfall or something like that, you're 5 years. And the thing is, the TV and stuff like that you bought is worn out after 3, so you are still paying that stuff off after it's worn out. So the idea is to get away from that kind of thing, and that's something that I'm really passionate about myself, is just generating enough money or enough wealth to have your own bank that you can lend from, or borrow from, I suppose, from time to time as you need it. So it's just about being a little bit smarter with your finances. I know I personally have a Q card. It's interest free. I make those purchases. I just had to spend a lot of money at the dentist, so I took that and I got 36 months interest free and 12 months of no payments. So it cost 7 grand for this dental work. I took the money, I took the 7 grand and I put it into a term investment, earning 4% or whatever it was for that period, and at the end I will take it out and I will put it back on the Q card. So I've paid no money except for the $30 establishment fee or whatever it is, and I've made interest on that money the whole entire time that I've had it. So that's basically what we look at when we need to spend money, or have an emergency fund set up in you know, on the side if we need some money straight away. Or credit cards as well are great if you know how to use them. You get 55 days of interest free, 55-day interest free period on a credit card, which is fantastic because you can keep that money for 55 days and it's yours, and you've got what you need, and then at the end of that 55-day period, then pay it off. So these are all things to think about instead of the instant gratification and things like that. Another thing, I guess, when we're looking at buying our first home or investing in property, so property investing, I know you see out there's a whole bunch of people teaching people in an unregulated space how to invest in property, and this is not always the best way to go. I know when I was a little bit younger, I made some terrible property decisions based around these type of people, I guess, and I ended up buying some apartments in Auckland City, and you know what, it didn't pan out, and it might in the end, it'll pan out. I mean, I didn't lose any money, I guess, in the long term, but I didn't make money in the Auckland property boom or the New Zealand property boom. And you know, sometimes I feel there's a whole group of us and we're all relatively intelligent people, and we feel like we're the only ones in Auckland or in New Zealand that didn't make money out of property in the last 10 years. So that was under guidance of some property gurus. So, you know, property investment is a good investment, sure, why not? But is it the best investment for you? Maybe not though. So me personally now, I love managed funds, and that's what I really like. And managed funds at the moment, as long as you're selecting your funds correctly, are providing an excellent return, and often much more profitable than property. And not only that, you don't have the headaches that you have with property. So if you've got tenant issues where your property is untenanted for a month a year, that's a month of the year that you need to cover that mortgage. So that's got to come out of your pocket. If there's repairs to be done, out of your pocket. And I know people factor all this stuff in when buying a property, but you can never really factor it in really, or accurately. And a lot of these places that I've seen, they fly so close to the wire where they're basically positive cash flow by $10 a week. That's not a good, that's not safe. In my opinion, this is all my opinion. I'm not giving anyone advice here. Another thing, you know, I personally got involved in the Bitcoin game, and that to me, that was revolutionary. The blockchain technology I really love, and I do personally believe that's going to change the world at some point in time. It's going to remove a lot of the middlemen or the banks, which obviously, you know, we pay a lot of fees to and things like that. So it's going to get rid of that eventually. But I did quite well in Bitcoin. I was out there, I was living the dream. I believed I was going to change so many lives by, you know, helping people invest in Bitcoin and all of that kind of stuff. And I was traveling the world, and I was having the best time and meeting a whole ton of amazing people, and life was just the best. And I just didn't think it would ever end, and I didn't believe it would get any better than it was. It was just fantastic. But of course it did end, and Bitcoin went, and that was that was the end of the Bitcoin. You know what I mean? I mean, it wasn't the end of it, but it was the end of that run. Everyone was doing so well, and of course everyone lost a lot of faith in Bitcoin, and then you know, a whole bunch of people lost a whole heap of money when they were investing in it, and then it turned and tanked quite drastically. So that was a horrible time in my life, and I thought everything was over. I was like, no way. And then it basically caused me to have to start again. I basically had to start from scratch. I had all my money in Bitcoin pretty much, and it was stupid. So I needed to sort myself out. I needed to sort that out. I went back to ground zero. I decided I needed to learn how to manage money properly and efficiently, and have much more respect for money if I was going to be able to purchase and have the things that I wanted in life. So that was the start of my financial career, actually, when that happened, and went out there and got all the relevant qualifications, and I studied really hard to get there, because I didn't want to just have the qualifications. I needed to make sure that I would understand every single little piece of the business, I guess, so that I would never ever have people in the same position that I was in with the Bitcoin, because I've actually never spoken about it, but that was absolutely devastating, and I'm speaking about it on video. It's going out to the world. So yeah, my whole life changed with that. So now what we look at doing is I only operate in regulated spaces, diversification of your money. And I know a lot of people and a lot of large investment gurus, like, you know, your Warren Buffett and things like that. They might say, you know, keep all your eggs in one basket. This is one of his quotes. Keep all of your eggs in one basket, but watch that basket closely. So make sure you know exactly what you're doing, or you have people know what they are doing for you. So if you decide that property is for you, then you need to know everything there is to know about property. You need to, do you know what, I know there's Facebook groups and all of that kind of stuff out there that deal in all the stuff, and you can ask questions and things like that, but bottom line is there's so much information, and a lot of it is just comes down to personal opinions and things like that. So somebody's personal opinions may not resonate with you, and they may not be good advice, and it's all an unregulated space. So some of these property investors have no qualifications, and they'll stand there and tell you that you don't need to go to university, and just do what I did and buy this and buy that and buy that, and maybe, but I know that researching some of these people, nobody ever tells you about the bad times, and no one ever tells you about when they made a bad deal or they purchased a bad deal. So you're technically blindly following these people, and I don't know, that's what I did. And then I had 3 apartments. I managed to get out of 1. I've still got 2 left, and I can't sell them. And it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing situation. So you never really know what's going to happen. But anyway, I just wanted to share that story with you guys, and let you know that there's way more content coming now, because I just feel like I've got a better understanding of the market, better understanding of the clientele that we've been dealing with, and a better understanding of how I can be of more service and assistance. And I wanted to be a little bit more transparent about myself also, so you guys could know exactly who I am. Some of the things that I've actually been through, and my failures. Those are my 2 biggest failures, with the Bitcoin and of course those 2 properties. But it didn't stop me from continuing and carrying on building wealth, just in a different method. So what we're going to look at doing, or what I'm going to look at doing and providing you guys with, is basically I'm gonna let you know a lot more about what I'm personally doing to build wealth and how we're doing it. I've got another couple of weeks. It's going to be pretty awesome. I'll have my investment qualification all locked down, so I'll be able to give specific investment advice, which is basically on category 1 products, which you get back a bit more into that later, but investments and managed funds and shares and all of those kind of things that you hear people talk about, but we'll talk about them anyway. So we'll start doing some Facebook Lives, especially when we're in traffic like this. I know a lot of the older videos that I was doing based around your first home and things like that, they were only like 3 to 5 minute videos, but we'll start doing some Facebook Lives. Might be a little bit hard to answer questions when we're driving in traffic, but we'll see what we can do there, and maybe if somebody's got something that they want to touch on or talk about, we'll be able to do that, and potentially even like do them from some other location or something like that. So wrapping that video up, I guess that's pretty much what I wanted to get across. I really hope that you guys are taking the time and just listen to that from start to finish, and if you're interested, of course. And I really hope that I end up working with some of you guys and providing some like a positive outcome into your life. So as always, if you guys have got any questions or you want to get in touch or anything like that, all the details are below the video. So throw your comments down there, grab a phone number, grab an email, jump on the website, which is almost completed, it's still not there, and get in touch, anything you need. And I'll speak to you all soon.